Boo! The screen is a window into your child's mind. That's what you love to see. What's up, y'all? I'm Gus, and today we are going to be helping the parents of Reddit through some of their video game questions, reacting to what they've got to say. Maybe we'll dive into the comment section and see what's going on there, but yeah, probably not. Comment sections can be weird places. Except for mine, where I would love to hear any questions that you might have for me about the games that your kids are playing or gaming in general. I would love to help out with that. So let's dive right in. First up, screen time help. I want to create new interests for my kids. I need help with managing screen time before my kids are ruined. That's not how screens work. They're at the stage where they'd prefer to stay home and play video games than go outside, and that's not what I want for them. Is that what they want for them? I grew up outside in the 80s and had so much fun and freedom, I really didn't want them to miss out. But it's my fault for allowing screen time, so how do I manage it consistently? Consistently, if you're gonna manage it, you have to manage it consistently. Do I need set times? No. How do I manage the incessant asking for devices consistently? They are 5 and 8 years old, have one Kindle Fire tablet between them, and a TV. They spend about 4 to 5 hours a day in screens and more in the weekends. I really try to get them interested in other things, but they'll show interest for 5 minutes, then be done, which is frustrating after spending time getting all the art supplies out. First of all, they're 5 and 8 years old. The fact that they showed interest for 5 minutes is probably a pretty good thing. I also dislike having to organize their activities. I'd rather they had their own interests they gravitated towards. They do. It's what's happening on their screens. They do like other things, but screens are number one at the moment. I don't want to get rid of screens entirely. I want them to have more interests in other things. Any tips greatly appreciated. Okay, cool. You can be fond of how your childhood was without having to feel the need to make your child's childhood like that. The thing that I think this person is missing here, your kids have interests. We already know they're interested in, he's calling it screen time. But here's the thing, there's a lot of stuff that can be on those screens. At the end of the day, if you want to know what your kids are really into, look at what's on their devices. What is on a person's screen is a window into their mind. That's why companies like Google and Facebook collect so much data on what's on your device, because having that knowledge is important to them. And as a parent, it can be important to you as well. Don't just say, oh, they're on screen time. Look at what's on their device. Are they watching videos about specific kinds of arts and crafts? If they are, that's an interest that they have. You need to provide them with the tools that they need to pursue that interest. Are they watching videos like from Mark Rober or Stuff Built Here or Smarter Every Day on mathematics and engineering and science stuff? Like, those are incredible. I'm never gonna be upset at my kids watching those kinds of videos because they're building up a curiosity and learning about the world. These are things that you can use to get them interested in further topics, to explore further and have a deeper relationship with your kids. If they're super into science YouTube, take them to a science museum. Maybe they're watching a bunch of cute animal videos. Take them to a petting zoo. So don't think about screen time as the problem that you've got to solve. The screen is a window into your child's mind. Use it to figure out what they are interested in and then put the tools in their path for them to explore those interests. And I promise you will feel much better about what your kids are doing with their time and expanding your relationship with them. One more thing. Beyond just looking at their screen as a way for you to learn what you can get them interested in, try taking a more interested approach in what's in their screens as a way to relate to them. If they're spending a bunch of time on a particular YouTube channel or something like that, you don't have to take that and transform it into something. You can just connect with them there where they are. If they really like some YouTuber who's playing a certain game, pick that game up and play that game with your kids, or just start watching that YouTuber so you can be familiar with their in-jokes. You will get very surprised smiles out of your kids if you can drop an in-joke from a YouTuber that they really love. Promise, I did it to my 16-year-old like a week ago. It was hilarious. So let's move on to the next post. But before we do, I want to let you guys know I've started streaming over on Twitch. There'll be a link to that down in the description. So if you have any questions that you'd like to get my opinion on, you can come over and ask in the stream or let me know down in the comments here, and I'll be happy to help however I can. Alrighty, this one actually is pretty exciting because it's like not a negative based question. We can just be excited video game nerds about this one. So, graduating 7-year-old from iPad to better video games. Might sound unusual, as I see plenty of posts about kids spending too much time on video games, but my son plays Minecraft and a few other puzzle games, Mario Run, etc. on iPad in the time that we allot him, after homework and anything else we want him to do is done. Hey, healthy boundaries. That's what you love to see. He's asked in the past about getting a Switch as he has friends with Switches. We bypassed that this past Christmas to his disappointment, but he has largely forgotten or at least not mentioned it recently. I do feel a touch guilty that he plays games only on iPad, which I think the experience can't be as nice as holding a controller. I mean, yeah, for some kids. My daughter is 9, and up until about, I'd say probably 2 months ago, she preferred playing games on her tablet to on any of like the consoles or computers that we had in the house. So it's not completely unreasonable to be like, you have a tablet, play on that. And I think it would be more social if he played on the TV so that others could see and perhaps have 2-player games together. But I'm not sure what to get, if anything. Consoles are great for family gaming, so I definitely think if gaming is something that you enjoy being in your house and perhaps want to share with your kid, going in the direction of a console is probably a great decision. He also has an almost 4-year-old little sister. Okay, probably a little young to be basing your console decision around the sister, but it's good to keep in mind. Is the Switch best thing for younger kids, better than Xbox or PlayStation? Are there other alternatives? Something that wouldn't be terrible for his little sister too would be ideal. I don't want to get them both addicted to gaming. That's an overblown concern, especially considering that you've already specified that you set an expectation that your child is going to do the things that need to be done before they get screen time. So I don't think that's a worry for your household. Figure why not just switch, no pun intended, boo, to something a little more enjoyable. Anybody been through this that has a recommendation for where to go, or just leave it alone? I figure part of the strategy for choosing something for him is that he won't get to the point where he begs until I give in, then I might get him whatever he wants, which might end up being something worse. Better if I'm in control of that decision to avoid going down the wrong path. Also, I considered maybe building a RetroPie thing with emulators like SNES. Also, Switch games seem very expensive. Maybe the Nintendo Online subscription that gets you classic NES and SNES games would suffice. Price for that seems reasonable last I checked. Let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this. I think the number one criteria that you could ever gravitate towards when picking a platform to be on is the one you've already identified. Where are your friends? Or in this case, where are their friends? If his friends are playing on the Switch, then the best experience that he's going to have gaming is going to be playing the games that he can play with his friends on the Switch. You know, some games are cross-platform and it doesn't matter where your friends are. I can play Fortnite on my PC with one of my kids on my Xbox and another one of my kids on the PlayStation. But some games are limited to certain platforms. You're not going to play any kind of Mario games with someone who is not on a Switch. So if your kid has friends that have Switches, then getting your kid a Switch is going to be a way that they can step up from an iPad to a dedicated gaming device, and it's going to be a way that he can interact more with his friends. As far as a family gaming device, the Switch has some of the best parental control setups that you can possibly have out of like any of the console families right now. The online subscription with the retro consoles is great. I love it. I've played a bunch of those games on our Switch. My kids have even gone back and played some of them. It's hilarious watching my kids struggle through Super Nintendo games that I used to just crush as a kid. The games on the Switch aren't actually more expensive than most of them. PlayStation 5 games are $70, where most Switch games are either $60 or $50. Most brand new Xbox games are $60. Most brand new like PC games that could also be console games are $60 as well. Like 60 is kind of just like the price that games are at. But the Switch has a lot of indie, lesser known games that are going to come in cheaper than that. And most platforms have that. So it really just depends on what you want to play. Games that cost more than $50 on one platform generally cost more than $50 on all the platforms. That's just the video game market these days. The Switch is a great choice, and I think you will find that with your kid coming from an iPad, it will be an easier transition because it can be something that you take on the go with you as well for, long car rides or something like that. But it can also then come home and sit on a dock in the living room, and you can play games like Mario Party or Mario Kart together and really develop strong bonds around video gaming. If your kid wants a Switch, there's not a super compelling reason not to get a Switch if you're okay with them having a console. It's gonna be a great time. Try and find some games on it that you think you'll both enjoy and sit down and have a weekly game night. Like, it's gonna be great. If you have questions about specific games, I also make parental reviews, which are linked right here.